Hey friends, how's it going? Allen's Or Scale Trains. So I'm working today. I bought an old um, Marx Vanderbilt, and so what I'm going to do, let me show you guys. So I don't know if you guys know, like they have all the rough finishes. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of slowly taking all that out and making it a nice smooth finish. I'm also going to take I'll show you here, I guess. Um, I got a really good cutting wheel for my Dremel, and I'm going to cut and try to make this opening here look a little more Vanderbiltish. So I'm going to probably start about right here, and I'm going to take all this section right here out so I can kind of give you an idea. This is just a rough. I'm just going to take a marker here and just use a rough thing and kind of show you. I'm going to kind of change the cut on each side to that. Take that piece out. I've already taken the motor all apart. I still have to rebuild it, but this is the motor for it right here. And what I've done is I've taken off the front piece right here that would normally hold the deals. I'm going to raise that up to here. I got a little welder, and I'm going to weld this up a little higher so that I can attach it up inside here, up in deeper above that mark. And then what I'll do is I'm going to find a engine somewhere that has, I'll show you, kind of like on the 259E, that kind of, I can get like one of these little sections right here, and I'm going to get that attached up in there. Hopefully I can find one of these, and I'm going to change out from this basic deal here to something more like this on the gears. So in the meantime, what I'm doing is I got me a little bit of glazing putty right here that I'm using to, let me clean up one of these. I have to get a thing, but take a little bit of this, should probably sand it a little bit. Yeah, here, hold on. This is just some cheap dollar store wallpaper or sandpaper. I have some really good sandpaper, but for this kind of stuff, this is all I need. This is just a cheap card that I've cut little strips up that I use to apply this. That I use to apply the. This thing was all dented really bad, and I want to get kind of the grooves out of it and make it look a little less, Marxish. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen one of these, but the top up here, it's pretty bad. So what I'm doing is I've put a couple of coats. This is my third coat actually, and I'm going across the top as nicely as I can and feathering it back so that I have a really good seal, and then I can just feather it back into the engine so it looks nice and smooth. So it's just going to be a real gradual bringing it back. I'm going to have to go back a little further, but I do have that light there in the front, or that little smokestack coming in, that I'm going to have to probably do a little adjusting on. This is not the ideal thing to apply this stuff with. It's just I don't have I don't have a little thing right now, this perfect size. But I saw a guy who refinished one and was selling it. I doubt if I'll sell it. I just want to refinish it and see how it comes out. I just want to try it and see what it'll look like. But this stuff sands really easy, this spot putty, and I'm just using it on here to try to get all of the little nasty open ends and stuff just to make the engine look a little sharper. Because I don't know if you guys have ever, if you have one of these or if you've seen one, they didn't really much care about how the seams went together. I mean, they were, you know, they were a lot less expensive engine, but I'm going to try to doctor it up a little bit and try to make it look as nice as possible. And I think with just a little bit of work, I can get a lot of the things that didn't look so great on it and make look a lot better. Whoops. This stuff is like I said, this stuff is really, really easy to work with. I used to, me and my dad would work on cars a lot, and we after we did like fiberglass filler or whatever kind of filler we were using to take care of the dents that I usually ended up buying, because when I was in school, high school and stuff, I couldn't afford new cars, so we got used cars, and then we tried to make them look as nice as possible. So he was pretty good at that type of stuff, body work and auto painting. That's kind of where I learned how to paint and stuff. My dad taught me a lot about painting cars and stuff like that, and then I've taken that knowledge and transferred it over into train restoration, which has come in really handy. Okay, so that's the third application now that I've done on there to try to get a smooth transition from this front piece that was just looked horrible up here, and then like these had big cracks down the sides and stuff. So that's that one. This was a little worse for the wear. It was dented and all pushed sideways, and it just looked absolutely horrible. But it's been quite a few coats on this one to try to get it nice. But I think I'm getting real close to getting it nice and solid across here, getting all the little dings out so that it'll look as good as possible when I primer it and paint it and then wet sand it. So I'm just going through, like I said, this is my third run on both of these to try to get as many of the little imperfections that just go with it. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's what Marx are, they're toy trains, but I just, if I'm going to refinish it, I want to make it look as cool as possible. So I'm going to try to go the extra mile here and see if I can't really make this thing pop, which may or may not work. So we shall see. I will try to bring you guys along for the whole process. The sanding, probably not so much, but once I get to where I'm going to primer coat it, I can see this end needs to build up a little bit to come down. It's a little lopsided. This stuff, like I said, it's pretty easy to work with. The corners were terrible because I don't know if you guys seen, like the corners on these, they just folded them together, and then didn't bother to really worry about how that fold looked or how it lined up and everything. So they really didn't look. They definitely looked really toy trainy. And I'm trying to get more of the streamlined look back to it, and it's kind of working so far. Like I said, it's not perfect, but it's just a little tin train. But I did notice this, that now that I've got a couple of coats on this thing of this finishing spot glazing, the shell is a lot stronger than what it was. I'm gonna hit that with one more coat across the top there and try to just, right, there we go. There we go. Now this side. But yeah, like the way it's folded and stuff, it's pretty imperfect. So there's a lot of places where I'm having to build up to go over the metal folds and then try to feather it down into the actual body, which is working somewhat, but it's, you know, I'm sure that it's not going to look perfect when it's done, but I'm just trying to make it look a little better, a little less pieced together and like a solid, nice solid tender. That doesn't look too bad. You can also, like I did notice this, as you're doing it, you can kind of take your finger and form it on it, and it does wonders as far as smoothing out body imperfections on these little things, especially on the corners. It takes a lot there. Got kind of a big dent right here that I've been slowly trying to fill in and get a good corner on here. I did the best I could trying to work with little tools that I use to kind of get dings out of the tin plates, and then patch them up. But even with that, it still always requires this because you just can't get them all out. Let me see. That looks pretty good. Let me try and get that corner right there and bring it around a little bit so I have a little more to work with. There we go. Okay, so that looks good. That looks good. Now let's go to the top right here. And coming back from here, it looks like I got to raise up this side quite a bit. So I'm going to start right here, come back. I'll come the other way. Okay, so this is not a perfect, by any stretch of the imagination, job here. But I really think that with a little sanding and forming and just a little bit of work, I can actually make this look real nice and streamlined and kind of make it look even and square and get all the little dings and all the little marks, corner imperfections out of it and try to make it look more uniform and nice. I have to bring that down a little more again. I can't just take it all at once. I do have, luckily, I have a lot of corners to use, and that's a really great place to feather the changes out. You know, going from one corner to the other, it works really well to take out all of the little as you can see there, I'm just kind of rebuilding the whole thing a little bit at a time, and using my thing just kind of to feather everything so that I can so I don't have like a real noticeable, everything's like a smooth transition. There we go. There we go. Now let's get this front. I got the front still to do right here. So for that, I'll just try to fill in as much as I can. You can't put real big coats on this or it'll crack. So you have to do it in a lot of thin coats, which is kind of a pain in the ass, but if you do thick coats with this particular type of glazing compound here, it won't. There we go. Kind of want that to build up on that corner. There. Let's see. Nice. So one more little work right here across the bottom. There we go. It's going to be a pain. Let's see. I probably got a little thick on this one. I'm probably going to get some cracking. I'll just dry it really good. Okay. So I've got it built up. Main thing is like the seams on here. You want to try to just go over top of them. And then when you sand it out, you want to sand it to where you just see the tip of that seam, and then feather everything and get everything working around that. So like right here, there's a big seam where the two pieces go together. So when I sand, I'll just sand lightly, and as soon as I see that seam come in, I want to feather everything over so that, there we go. A little more here, one more little shot here on the top where this is coming back. I'll just try to feather it a little bit longer. There we go. Perfect. All right, so I know it looks like a mess right now, and it does, I'll admit. But, so there I go. So there you go, see? So I just build it up really thick on there. I hope you guys can see it. Build it up really thick on there, and then I'll just slowly work on it and sand it and try to make it. I missed a little spot right here. Hold on. It's the good stuff with this stuff. If you do have little bare spots, you want to make sure you have everything covered so you have a good, smooth finish all the way around. It's not that hard to throw a little more on it when it's dry and just build it back up. So I think that looks straight on that end. That looks pretty straight on that end. I'm building just a little higher right here. I know I got it kind of rough up here in these corners, so I know that's gonna. So there we go. So that's what I'm going to be working on next. What I'll do is once I pick a thing for this, I'll make a little template so I can flip it from one side to the other. I'll get an exact mark on there, and I'll bring you back when I get the Dremel. I bought these. I hate to dig them out because they're buried under a bunch of stuff, but I'll dig them out and show you guys. I have my little thing here, and I'm telling you, I'm super impressed with these wheels I bought. They were a little pricey, I'm not gonna lie, but I got them at. See, I have a lot of cutting wheels here for my. This is my little Dremel toolbox of fun, but I bought. I have a bunch of regular cutting wheels and stuff here. I have some of these right here. Those got a bunch of those actually, but I bought these right here, and it's called Max Life Cutting Premium Metal Dremel. Right here, these wheels right here, and let me show you the one I'm actually using. All right, so this right here, I've repaired the top of a rider truck. The top of the truck where above one of the real big ones. A buddy of mine, he hit it and smashed the front end, and the aluminum there got kind of messed up, and we had to put the new corner places in and pop everything back and re-rivet it. But I cut the whole length of that shell of aluminum with this blade, and then I've made a couple of track adjustments. I've cut some track with it, and look at that thing. It's barely even used it. I mean, and I worked on that trailer with this thing for an hour and a half, and it's still a brand new blade. So I think there are $20 or something, 20 some bucks, but well worth it. So I recommend those to anybody who's got that kind of a project ahead of them. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited to get this thing built. I'll bring you back once I have the sanding done on it and we see what it looks like. I think probably after this one, I might have a couple of little touch-up coats for, deep places or something where I just have to do touch-ups. And then I'm probably ready to go to a coat of primer and see what we look like. But I think I've gotten it pretty uniform. I've gotten all the dents out of it, all the little dings out of it. And we're going to rebuild that and see what we can turn it into. So that's the project I'm working on right now. I just wanted to share that with you guys. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace and hair grease.